Aisha Tyler, first off, congratulations on the host, on the talk, and winning the Daytime Emmy last year for Best Entertainment Talk Show for the first time. What was going through your head, when that was announced?
Well, it wasn't our first nomination, so I think we still think of ourselves, even though that was our 6th season, as underdogs. So I think we were just kind of getting ready to be gracious. You know what I mean? Not in a like poor us way, but we're still kind of the new kids on the block, and I really think we do think of ourselves as kind of the underdog show. And there's, obviously there are these juggernaut shows that win this category every year. So we were just getting ready to be sweet, and I do remember, I think we had just presented and we were backstage and we were like, oh my God, that's us, that's us. So there was this kind of like scramble, like a trying to kind of like tumble back out onto the stage, but it was a really lovely moment.
I actually had a chance to talk to Julie Chen yesterday, and she mentioned that she thinks the secret to the victory is that you all sort of had a contingency plan to go out for dinner afterwards if you lost, and so either way, if you plan for the one thing, and suddenly you'll be surprised.
Yeah, we did plan to kind of go out and like nurse our disappointment in a drinks and dinner, and then it turned out to be a celebratory dinner, which was such a lovely moment. But I don't know, I mean, so much of this stuff is contingent on whatever momentum your show has and what's going on in the market, and we're just trying to make a good show every day, and I think the rest of it, you just kind of have to cross your fingers and see what happens.
And luckily at the Daytime Emmys last year, there was no like envelope mix-up like at the Oscars. And when I was talking to Julie yesterday, she also mentioned how well you handled it when that actually happened to the 5 of you when you were presenting in 2013, and you got the wrong envelope. When the Oscar thing happened, did you just have flashbacks when to that?
It was so weird because I was at a viewing party and then I was headed to the Elton John party, and in between I left my viewing party a little early because town is so crazy that night. So I was actually like at security walking into Elton John when that thing happened, and I was looking at it online, and I was texting with my publicist, and she goes, oh, it's La La Land, and she had the television on mute. She goes, oh, now they're bringing up a Moonlight, and we were both like, oh, it must be one of those things that like where Adele is like, no, Beyonce, this is your Grammy, I'm gonna break it in half. No idea what was happening. By the time I got into the red carpet, this mistake, and that was one of the first questions people asked me was, do you remember this experience for yourself when what happened to you? And I said, look, I get why that happened. Not in terms of why the wrong envelope got handed out. That's the core of the issue. But for Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, you're out there, it's live television, there's 100 million people watching, you just given to you. I know that it was really apparent when I got the wrong envelope that it was the wrong category, that it was daytime educational show and my envelope had named a soap star. So I just was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna ruin this person's moment. I'm gonna ruin the actual winner of this category's moment. I took the initiative. But for a lot of people who aren't really used to live performing and live television, I could see how they'd be afraid to do anything. They don't want to like hit the brakes and be wrong, So I answered that question quite a bit on the carpet. But I think you can tell when you watch that footage back that Warren Beatty was like, this is wrong. This looks wrong to me. It's wrong. And then he showed it to Faye Dunaway, and she just kind of pulled the trigger.
Well, I mean, now that we know that you had the experience of this situation and that you handled it with such aplomb, obviously you should present Best Picture next year.
Obviously. I'm glad you said it. I think it's nice because like the next couple of days after the Oscars, there were a lot of people tweeting like, this is how you handle getting the wrong envelope at an award show. And that was really flattering. But we were up there for exactly 1 minute and 9 seconds, and it felt like hours. It really felt like a long time. So, but yeah, now that I've experienced it once, I'm ready for any contingency. I can definitely be a pinch hitter.
Well, this year, the Daytime Emmy nominations are going to be announced again, actually on The Talk, live on the show. And this time you're going in as the defending champions for Best Entertainment Talk Show. So what's it going to be like this year? Do you think there's going to be less pressure now that you've had the experience of winning, the show winning, or maybe even more pressure because of that?
God, that's a really good question. I don't know. Like, we have an Emmy, and that's so gratifying. It doesn't change how we make the show. We're just trying to get up every day and make the best show we can. So I don't even think winning the Emmy changed anything other than it's nice. People see that the show's been recognized, and maybe with people who are considering, oh, it's an Emmy winning show, and it kind of puts our show in a different light in that way. But we're just here, putting our pants on one leg at a time and trying to do good TV. I don't know that it's going to put any pressure on me. I just go into these nights kind of excited to have a night out with the other ladies because we all work so much. We rarely get social time together, and these nights are just literally an opportunity for us to hang out, and we have so few of them. So I'm mainly just excited to go out and have some champagne with the other ladies of the talk, and the rest of it is kind of gravy.
You yourself didn't join the talk until the second season. After the show had already somewhat established itself, it was still kind of evolving at that point. So what was it like coming into the show? Sort of while it was already underway and kind of joining that dynamic.
I'll tell you that it was easier than it should have been. It's always really daunting to be the caboose of a moving train. And you're trying to kind of catch up with everybody. They already have their dynamic set. Up staying because I came in just for a week as a guest host. The reason I decided to join the show was because that week was so easy and so fun, and I felt so welcomed here. And it really made a difference. I think anybody joining a new club, you're intimidated and you want to be liked, and you don't know what the dynamic is, and you're trying to kind of find where you fit in. And just from the very first day I was here, they made me feel so at home that it was a really easy decision to join the show permanently. And it's been easy from the very beginning. I mean, the show isn't easy to do, and sometimes I think it makes me sound glib, and I'm not saying that like it's a layup, but what I am saying is it's such a fun place to come, and the dynamic and the energy here is so casual and positive and open that this is probably the easiest part of my day. And it's funny because people occasionally do say, oh, you joined the show in the second season, but it does feel like I've been here since the beginning.
Now, for this year, you've won the show's won best talk show, but the co-hosts of you and your fellow hosts are still aiming for that first best talk show host victory. And you submitted this year, the episode submission will be the one of the 7 wonders of the world. Or 7 wonders of the talk episodes, and during those shows, you explored a little bit of why you yourself were so talkative. What was it like doing 7 wonders of the talk this season?
Oh, I think one of the reasons that we did that was, every year for our season opener, we always want to be really revelatory, right? Like tell something that people don't know about us or that the other hosts don't know about us. And it's always this moment where I think the audience really gets a chance to connect with us in a different way. But, we're just out of secrets. I'm just out of secrets. So I think the reason we did it this year this way was to kind of show another side of ourselves that, again, kind of gave people a way to connect with us, but wasn't like, some other like big barn burning secret about our childhood or our relationships or our lives, It was a fun piece to do. It made fun of what some fans have said online. Oh, Aisha likes to talk and she talks a lot. And I'm like, that's true. I used to get thrown out of class in grade school for being like the chatty Kathy in class, and I'll own it. I think with the show is we all own our shortcomings and we own our faults, and we're human. So it was a fun piece to do because I think people laughed, and I think it addressed something that people have been wondering about me. And I think that whole week was about kind of talking back to our viewers who talked to us all year online about how they feel about the show and addressing some of their questions. And so it was fun. It was playful and it was nice. I think people really liked it.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be a talk show host on a talk show called The Talk, then I think maybe talkativeness is a pretty good problem to have.
Pretty much at the top of the job description, like, hey, this is a show where you need to talk. How good are you at talking? And they always laugh. John Redmond, our executive producer, always laughs. He goes, well, this topic is really boring and no one's going to have anything to say, but I know I can rely on Aisha to save this segment. So, yeah, I mean, I'm here, like I said, I'm the pitch hitter. I'll come in and I'll swing. I'll swing at that low ball and I'll turn that strike into a home run.
And for best talk show host, the show is going to be entering Rocktober Lip Sync War, the Halloween episode in which you performed all night long as Lionel Richie. What was that? What was that like to do, to prep for and to actually perform?
Those shows, those Halloween shows, have always been really elaborate here. And then the Rocktober Lip Sync War last year was so popular, we did it again. And I really wanted to do. I always find, like, I love karaoke, first of all, and I do it all the time with my friends. And I always find it really funny when a woman sings a song that's typically sung by a guy. I just always think that's the funniest stuff. So to pick that song and to get to dress up in this kind of iconic wardrobe from that era and to be this, this huge pop star that people love, Lionel Richie, was a blast. But I joked to everybody, like, I have this mustache on. I look exactly like my dad when he was 25. It's really upsetting. It's really alarming. Everybody looks in the mirror and sees their parents. It's just odd for a woman to look in the mirror and see their dad. But it was so fun, and it was a song people love, and I got to be funny and have this incredible team that comes in and does all our choreography. And it's always a lot of work. I mean, it's an insane amount of work. It's like twice as much work as any other episode. But it's really gratifying. That was a blast. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be doing that thing again. Because it's always such a hit with the viewers, and it's a big event for us.
In addition to the talk, which undoubtedly keeps you busy, you've also been hosting Whose Line Is It Anyway, and you're also on Criminal Minds, and you're voicing Lana on Archer. How have you juggled so many different projects in your schedule that are sort of kind of I mean, I'm sure they don't all happen at once, I would hope.
No, it feels like it sometimes. People ask a lot, like, how do you balance everything? I don't really have any balance in my life. Like, it's not balanced. I just kind of go, like, race from one job to the next job and try to, like, eat in the car and then try to kind of nap either when I have some time or when I collapse and have to be, like, put to bed. So, this, I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. Like, I know that it's unusual to have these many jobs, and I feel very fortunate. And I like my job, so I don't have the kind of fatigue where, like, oh, I have to go to work. I mean, I'm super stoked to be doing the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm also lucky that they're also different. They kind of complement each other, but they're not all the same. But I get up early in the morning, I come here, and then I go straight from here to Criminal Minds, and then in the times between I do Archer, and then on the weekends I do Whose Line. So I work 7 days a week almost all of the time, and I am exhausted. But as the very, hackneyed Billboard phrase goes, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You got one life, you got to live it, and I like being challenged. So for the most part, just that kind of penny taste of panic is always propelling me forward. That's what keeps me awake.
It's been an especially good year for your shows at the Emmys. After the talk won, the daytime Emmy for best talk show, then a few months later, Archer won best animated program at the primetime Emmys, which was its first victory there. How did it feel to celebrate that victory compared to the talk?
That was an equally shocking victory, not because I don't believe in the quality of Archer. I think it's a sensational show, but because we've been nominated so many years and we had won. And I think we had kind of gotten, like, nomination fatigue, which sounds like, like, who doesn't want an Emmy now? And we do, of course we do. We're so excited, but just every year we don't win. So we were kind of all planning. Sitting there, we're all planning together. All right, as soon as they announced our category, we're out of here. We're going to get drinks, and we were, like, literally, like, poised at the edge of our seats to, like, sprint out on the commercial break. And then we heard that we won, and it was just shocking and delightful, completely deserved. Adam Reed has an extraordinary mind. He co-created the show with Matt Thompson. He writes all the episodes. He's a genius, and that show was such a joy to make because he's so brilliant. So for me, anyway, I think the biggest joy of that moment was, like, watching him accept that award, and he deserved it. It's very much creatively, anyway, with the writing, a one-man show, and an incredible burden for one person. In terms of the writing, he does an incredible job, and then the animation, the whole show is so beautiful.
Archer is coming back in April for its 8th season this year. Is there anything that you can tease about, what we can expect this year from Lana? I'm sure you can't give too much away, but, any kind of details, I'm sure, to whet fans' appetite. So,
I don't know. It's interesting. People know that the show is kind of set in a different era. It's called Archer Dreamland this season. All the characters are kind of themselves and not themselves. And, at the end of last season, Archer may or may not have been dead in a pool. So there's a lot of threads are going to be tied up. A lot of new questions are going to be asked and potentially not answered. But it's a really sexy season. It's very cool. There's music. My character sings. It's kind of got this noir feel to it. It's going to be great. And I think, I think the challenge for those guys over there is to keep innovating. They don't want to keep making the same show over and over again and telling the same stories. And so this season is going to be really great.
Well, I want to wish you the best of luck on the upcoming season of Archer, and more of The Talk, and more of Whose Line, and more of Criminal Minds. And if you want to join 5 or 6 other shows, I wish you the best of luck on those too. I'm sure you can slow down the Earth's rotation, and you will get it done, I'm sure.
Superpower, so I can fly backwards against the rotation of the Earth and like slow it down a little bit, like Superman. I could use it. I could use a day off for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me, and have a great day.
Real pleasure, Dave.